All right, so we'll get into the very first part of when I actually brought the travel trailer to the property. We're skip over the part where, you know, it was a nightmare just getting to the point where I brought the travel trailer, but as soon as we bought the property, I literally just thought, you know, in the grand scheme of things, hey, put a travel trailer up there. This way, when you're figuring things out, when you go up there, you don't have to rush. Because it is like an hour and a half away, and if I want to just sleep there, you know, I like to drink beer, so I don't want to drink and drive. So anyway, to get that over with, I have a friend who he's convinced that his truck can get this travel trailer up from, you know, we're at 10 foot above sea level here in New Jersey, and the cabin is at 1,400 above sea level. So the thing is, like, he's telling me over an hour and a half, you're going to, you know, take 13,000 pounds on your Yukon and you're going to make it up. And there were some serious upgrades, you know, it's uphills along the way, like some 7-mile stretches, you can imagine. So with that being said, his truck almost broke. We slid down. We got it to the right of way, and we actually slid down with a 34-foot travel trailer and his Yukon. It was ugly. It was bad. I got so lucky because he's like, dude, I can't drive this thing around anymore. I said, listen, let me just bring it to town at least, because I'm about 7 miles away from town. So anyway, we find a guy. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ask this guy on a corner. So I asked this guy in a corner. I never met him. I told him my situation. He said, listen, you could park it here, but if it's not gone by the end of the month, my wife will burn it on fire. And I believed him. I really did. So he was nice enough to let us park there before I got in touch with Chris to get it up to the cabin. So it's the middle of the winter. You know, being from New Jersey, I just never really understood how bad the winter and the weather really gets up in New York. So, you know, we left it there. I made provisions to get, you know, that's when I called the Craigslist, or I got in touch with Chris via Craigslist, and that was our first meeting. And he brought a Dodge 2500. And I got there early, and I started laying down, you know, salt for the hills, because on the right of way, it's, you know, it's not asphalt, obviously it's dirt. So I just started throwing all sorts of salt at this so we could get up there. So we made it up there. But that's where all my legal problems began, upstate New York. This is where the township itself and the locals, it became literally a nightmare. So this is a part, and I was very brief when I did the full video, but this is the part where the township called my girlfriend and literally told us, if you don't move that trailer, there's going to be fines, you know, this whole protocol. And this is when I got into property rights and starting to understand, like, what was going on. You know, a lot has to do constitutionally with these towns and what they think they can do, because no one pushes back. The problem is you just don't push back. But when you start pushing back, people get really, really uncomfortable, including me. So we took the route of, you know, like I said in the beginning of the video, we are literally not going to move that trailer until I deem it necessary. And I wasn't moving it. And I didn't, you know, I was stubborn and I didn't care. I was just like, hey, I just bought a piece of property. This is my property, and there ain't a thing you could do about it. So, with the pressure being on, you know, it was such a big travel trailer, but the pressure being on, one thing led to another. Next thing I know, I'm in front of a township, and I'm just telling them, you know, due process doesn't stop or start in a civil or a criminal case. So you can't just arbitrarily start fining me unless I broke some kind of law. And you know, there's some kind of, and it's like I told you in the main video, there's always a workaround, especially in law. They always make it so you could work around. You just have to know where to look. Is it easy? No. if you really believe in something, believe in it and don't call a lawyer. Because lawyers are nothing but cockroaches of the society. And if you're a lawyer, I don't feel bad one bit for saying it, because you are the cockroaches who have put us in a mess in America. It's just the way it is. I mean, it's just the Constitution is set up to try to find as many loopholes, to do as many things. And I always say to people, listen, we want to get our country back. We just have to do what the lawyers taught us and just start suing everyone. Oh, you want to kick me out of school for, wearing a hat? Well, I'm just going to sue you. You want to kick me out of school? You want me to use a bathroom? No. There's rights, and that's it in this country. That is my political rant right now. But listen, it was very messy with the travel trailer. The hardest part was the travel trailer. So we finally, I started calling the lawyer of the township, and I started talking to, some people who had some problems with this town, and then, some people who had some problems with this guy who's on the board, because you got to go on a board and they kind of tell you listen, you ain't telling me nothing. I'm not here to ask you for permission to do anything. I'm doing it. Get over it. And that's the attitude I had the whole time. And that's what you have to go through with these people. But the thing is, when you go through it, you can't just go in there flying blind. So my suggestion to everyone that wants to do something like this, or if they find themselves, just call the township and ask them what they want, and just try your best to follow them. Because honestly, for the aggravation and the problems that you have to do, it's just easier to just ask them for permission. If you're like me and stubborn and want to do things the hard way, you're going to win. But at this point in my life, I don't even go up there and enjoy the cabin, because honestly, after the build was all over, I never wanted to see these people again. And they come up on the right of way, and I don't want to talk to them. I had nothing to say to them. The cops were sent there randomly over the years, and I had enough. I really did. It just kind of took the life out of me. So the thing is, if you want to enjoy this place, just do your best to ask the township. Just say, hey, what would you like me to do? And if you plan on putting a travel trailer, like my buddy bought a property, probably 2 miles away, and they made him put a $25,000 bond on his property, and so he could put a travel trailer there. So basically what they were saying was, hey, listen, put the bond up, and we'll trust that you will eventually build a cabin, and in the meantime you can put a travel trailer there. Which to me is just ridiculous. Again, it's your property. But if the thing in this country, and again, this is the lawyer's fault, if you throw money at things, you could either delay them or make them go away. And it shouldn't be like that. And I was set out to really, really prove a point. And I proved that point. But it's all part of it. But there's ways to go about it in an easier way. But I will tell you, that travel trailer stayed there until I said it was going to leave. And it left, because I didn't ever want the travel trailer. I wasn't even comfortable in there. It's just, you're in the middle of the mountains. The mice want to get in. It's just not, whatever. But that's just the brief time I had with the township. But I will tell you, I had to go to the township in front of the board a couple times, and then when they seemed to understand that I wasn't going to do what they said, then I went to court, civil court, and that's when I started to really, really flex the law muscles that are afforded to us through the Constitution. I literally starting to shake the Constitution, talking about due process and things that they can't do. Due process, Arizona versus Miranda, which has gotten turned over now, but it was at one point was the start of, the due process. And due process, like I said a little bit earlier, it literally stands whether it's civil or criminal. You have to have proper procedures to file anything. If you don't file those, you find yourself in trouble on both sides. Because what I said, and I stick to this, what you need to understand is the township or town or city, they have a set of rules that they must follow. If they don't follow those rules and you waive the Constitution and then say, hey, listen, I'm calling the state in. And listen, I did that one time in my town, in the town where I built my house now. I had a cop come to my house, and he warned me that I can't talk to these people anymore. And I said, listen to me. I said, every time I go to that township, I see bagels coming in, 17 pizzas, sushi. I said, is that what I got to do to pass my permits in this township? I said, it ain't going to happen. You let those know people. Don't ever come to my house. I told the cop, don't ever come to my house again unless you have a warrant, number one. Number two, you go there and tell, when I get done with these people, they're going to be all fired, because I'm not going to the state to file the complaint. I'm going to the feds, because that town is now corrupt. And it was amazing what happened as soon as I started that cop went back there and informed them, because I actually gave them the name of the federal agency and a person in that federal agency that yielded the most power. These are things you can do. And listen, I never wanted it to come to that. This wasn't fun to me. But when I have to tell a lawyer, by the time I get done with you, Mr. Attorney, you're going to need a lawyer. And listen, when you push back against these bullies, they get all sorts of scared, because they know you're not playing games. Because, as you get older, you don't go into a corner and come out fist fighting anymore. Listen, that doesn't happen. What you do is you come out and just say, hey, I got to legally figure this out, because honestly, they're trying to destroy me. Because remember, the bottom line of this whole thing is I wanted to build an off-grid cabin in the middle of the woods. That's all. That was the whole part of the operation. But these people, because I was an outsider, number one, because I bought an exclusive part of their land over there, I became public enemy number one. And I really didn't care. I had something to prove myself, and I did. I proved it. But these are the things you want to try to avoid. But I have to be honest with you. If you think you're going to go in there and be Mr. Nice Guy and they're just going to see, I'm going to do... Listen, it doesn't work like that. These townships are bullies. They're crooks. They're nothing... Listen, they're nothing more than a low-level lawyer or a they just suck off of people. They literally work for us, and I continually remind them that they work for me. I don't work for them. So when they ask me to do something, I'm not doing that. Show me a law that says I have to do that. You do it. You need another set of prints? You get another set of prints. Go over to a copy machine and you pay for it. If there's no law that says I have to give you 17 sets of prints, and that's the thing. Well, I've been told before, well, we always ask people, and why are you so combative about everything? Because I'm not just going to give you anything because you asked for it. You have, in the town of, where I was, they only had 7-day turnover for the permit. You have 7 days to do this. Here's the letter of the law that says that. When I hand you blueprints, you have 7 days to either pass or fail them. If you fail them, you have to give me a reason, you have to make me understand, and I have to go do a revision or whatever it is, but you have 7 days. And honestly, I hold them to it, because you know what? I got to give you money to start my build. You literally garner a salary from me because I'm going to build in your town. I don't give you any excuses. And listen, there'll probably be some people, if they listen to this or they hear this, to be like, listen, I've been bullied around by these townships too many times. Like I said, I've done a number of these. I've built a lot of stuff in my life, personal and professionally. And these people, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about you, just like your boss doesn't care about you, just like the people you work with, they can care less about you. Listen, this is just life. It's a rude awakening when you find it out, But everyone finds it out. Everyone, listen, it's just the way. And if you don't take care of yourself, you think being a nice guy, you don't want to be combative. If you do this, just have a lot of money. That's all I can tell you for people who think it's nice and easy. Just have a lot of money. Because like I said, money makes everything go away. You could literally paper everything to make your problems go away. You could hire more lawyers, you could hire more engineers, you could bribe these people. It's that simple. It's not a very complex thing. So with all of what I've said, I'm going to leave it there. So you could be prepared if you want to buy raw land or you want to go off grid. You have to prepare mentally. You have to understand that, listen, there's hope that you don't have to go through what I went through. But with all the townships and towns and talking to people about different things, hope's not a strategy. It's just not a strategy with these people. You have to remember, I'm sure we all know about police guys who have no business being a police guy. They were beat up their whole lives, they were bullied all lives, and now they have a shot to be a bully back, and they take full advantage of it. And everyone on this video knows exactly what I'm talking about. Well, that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the township. You're dealing with, guys who couldn't make it in the real world. There were electricians that failed in business. There are plumbers that failed in business. They act like, their word is law. Like the only way to do things is their way. It becomes rather, stressful at times. But again, I'm not a nice person. I don't claim to be a nice person. When these people come into my house, I am fully prepared for a mental battle. I am fully prepared to take things to a level they haven't seen before. And I'll tell you one story so you would know. I was at another house, and a guy literally walked up, an inspector, and I was sitting on a stoop because I had to wait for this inspector, because without this inspection, I could no longer go on with the work. Everyone's been there who's built, they understand. So I'm sitting on a stoop, I waited for the inspector gets there, I literally put my hand out to shake his hand. And he did not shake my hand. And I said, okay, this way, sir. So what I did was, when we walked into the house, I locked the door. Literally locked the door. And I looked at him right in the eyes and I said, we're going to do this again. Because in my world, I really am a respectful gentleman. And you're going to be too. So you have one more chance at this, because I just locked the door and there's no way out. And you're not getting past me. So, hi. And I introduced myself again, and he started shaking, but he shook my hand. He thought he was going to come in my house, in my build, and he was going to treat me with disrespect, and I let him know he wasn't. And these are the things they make you do. It's just, they make you do it. Does it happen all the time? No. Does it happen every time? No. But at some point, you have to take a stand against these bullies, because that's what they are. They're bullies. And or throw money at it. I can't say that enough. Just throw money at it. Because if you throw money at it, you'll never have to deal with the township. If you're a multi-millionaire, you're not listening to this anyway. Or if you have like a whole load of money, you're not listening to this YouTube channel. You're looking to do something on your own that's gratifying. You're looking to do something that's potentially fun, your family, campfires, whatever it may be. The end of the world comes. You could feel secure enough that, with a tank of gas, you could bring your family somewhere and be safe. That's who's listening to this. It's not the guy who's got a couple $1 million in the bank and, he's looking to do something, because those guys they don't want to know a how-to on how to build and where to go. They just throw money at things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, if everyone had the money to do it, everyone would do it. Me personally, I love to build. This build was, this is just like the beginning, but this build was challenging. It was fun. I got drunk. I was alone in the woods. You know, it's fun. But anyway, with that being said, that'll be it.